Downton Abbey may look flawless on screen-polished halls, glittering gowns and aristocratic drama, but behind the camera, the truth was far messier. The secrets of Downton are as dramatic as the Crawleys themselves. Today, we're revealing 10 shocking behind-the-scenes facts that will make you see the show in a whole new way. Fact 1. Most fans know Downton Abbey filmed at the real Highclere Castle, but few realise how close it was to ruin. When Julian Fellowes first approached the Carnarvon family, much of the castle was uninhabitable. Roofs leaked, whole wings were shut down, and some rooms were so cold the family only lived in a small portion of the estate. Filming fees from Downton literally saved the home. The crew often worked with buckets catching rain just out of sight of the camera, and thermal underwear was hidden beneath costumes. Actors huddled in trailers between takes just to warm up. Ironically, the crumbling castle perfectly echoed the show's theme of fading aristocracy. Tourism skyrocketed once fans recognised Highclere, funding even more repairs. Without Downton, parts of this grand estate might have collapsed completely. The Crawleys weren't the only ones clinging to tradition. The castle itself was fighting for survival. Fact 2. Dame Maggie Smith, the legendary Dowager Countess, gave us some of TV's sharpest one-liners, but she's never actually watched Downton Abbey. In interviews, she admitted she finds it painful to see herself on screen. For her, acting is about living in the moment, not rewatching it later. Producers sometimes begged her to view episodes for continuity, but she usually refused. Yet her performance was so powerful that writers began crafting even sharper quips just for her. CO stars recall that she rarely needed more than one take thanks to her photographic memory. She also avoided wrap parties, preferring to keep her private life separate from the frenzy of Downton fame. Despite never watching, Smith collected Emmys, a Golden Globe, and the eternal love of fans. In fact, memes and TikToks today often revolve around her zingers. There's something deliciously ironic about the Queen of Downton refusing to witness her own reign. Her mystery only adds to her timeless charm. Fact 3. Those glamorous Edwardian gowns and suits weren't as authentic as they looked. Costume designer Caroline McCall spent months researching fabrics and tailoring, but practicality often won out. Many outfits used hidden zippers and Velcro instead of endless buttons or hooks, so actors could change quickly between scenes. Thermal leggings and undershirts kept them warm during icy winter shoots at Highclere. Footmen wore rubber soles for safety on polished marble floors. Corsets often had stretchy panels so actresses could breathe and avoid fainting mid-take. Even microphones and battery packs were sewn into dresses to keep technology invisible. Some gowns were so heavy, over 20 pounds, that assistants had to help actors move. Lady Mary's posture was sometimes enhanced with subtle padding, while servants' uniforms were made lighter to endure long hours on set. The illusion worked flawlessly on camera. Viewers saw Edwardian elegance, actors felt modern hacks keeping them alive. Downton's glamour was held together by a mix of history and Velcro. Fact 4. Downton Abbey's lavish dinner scenes look like pure elegance, but filming them was exhausting. A single dinner table sequence could take up to 12 hours, with actors repeating tiny gestures again and again. Historical advisors taught the cast how to eat, pour wine, and even glance disapprovingly according to Edwardian etiquette. Mistakes could ruin the illusion, so everyone rehearsed like they were at finishing school. But the food was the real nightmare. Plates of meat, gravy, and vegetables had to look fresh for hours. Crew members constantly swapped in identical plates, but the smell of cold gravy lingered until actors were gagging. Corsets made eating nearly impossible, so most performers just pushed food around. Maggie Smith reportedly whispered sarcastic posture tips to her younger castmates during takes. By the time cameras wrapped, no one wanted to see roast beef again. What looked like a graceful evening on screen was, in reality, a grueling marathon of etiquette, endurance, and endless potatoes. Fact 5. While Downton Abbey is fictional, many of its storylines came straight from real Edwardian history. The Titanic sinking in episode 1 mirrored how entire aristocratic families lost heirs overnight. Lady Sybil's tragic death reflected real childbirth risks of the time, when even wealthy women weren't guaranteed safe deliveries. Thomas Barrow's struggles with his sexuality were inspired by Britain's laws. Homosexuality remained illegal until 1967. Lady Edith's illegitimate child echoed countless real aristocratic scandals that were hushed up or shipped abroad. Even the Spanish flu storyline came from reality, with the 1918 pandemic killing millions worldwide. Julian Fellowes pored over diaries, servant memoirs, and old gossip to craft plots that felt soap-like but authentic. He once said, "Real history was juicier than anything I could invent." That blend of truth and fiction is what made Downton resonate. It wasn't just costume drama, it was a mirror of the shocking, fragile world just beneath the aristocratic shine. Fact 6. Viewers loved the contrast between Highclere's glittering upstairs and the bustling servant quarters below. But here's the catch. Those kitchens and hallways never existed in the castle. Highclere's real basement was too small, too dark, and far too fragile for filming, so production built a full-scale replica on a soundstage. This gave directors flexibility with lighting, camera angles, and even removable walls for tracking shots. The kitchen was the most complex set, filled with real copper pots and working stoves. But most of the food was fake, often reused for days until it started to smell. Actors joked about the lingering stench of stew that never seemed to leave. Each season, the set was subtly redesigned to match new storylines, adding corridors, bells, or storage areas as needed. To audiences, it felt like a lived-in, authentic world. But in truth, the downstairs of Downton Abbey was a cinematic invention that made the drama possible. Fact 7. Highclere Castle wasn't just home to lords and ladies, it was also home to noisy peacocks. During filming, these birds regularly strutted across the grounds and squawked so loudly that entire takes were ruined. Sound engineers struggled to remove the cries from audio tracks, and some scenes had to be reshot multiple times. Julian Fellowes even admitted he once rewrote dialogue around a ruined take because the bird simply wouldn't stop shrieking. The cast joked that the peacock deserved its own credit in the titles. On one occasion, a particularly bold bird wandered right into shot during a wedding scene. Crew members tried bribing them with food, but the birds rarely cooperated. Lady Carnarvon, who owns the estate, said the peacocks were beloved residents but terrible extras. Today, fans touring Highclere can still spot the birds strutting about. They may not have had lines, but they definitely left their mark as Downton's most unpredictable cast members. Fact 8. For all of Downton's historical accuracy, eagle-eyed viewers spotted plenty of bloopers. A now famous promotional photo went viral when fans noticed a plastic water bottle on a mantelpiece. In one wide shot, a TV aerial poked out above the castle roof. Crew cones, coffee cups, and even sneakers occasionally sneaked into behind-the-scenes stills. The production team usually caught mistakes in editing, but human error slipped through now and then. One viral image of the water bottle actually boosted the show's popularity, with fans joking that the Crawleys had bottled water delivered centuries early. Cast members teased that perfection was always one coffee cup away from collapse. Julian Fellowes shrugged it off, saying, "Human error is inevitable." Instead of damaging Downton's reputation, these mistakes made it feel more human. After all, if even the Crawleys can't escape modern slip-ups, maybe there's hope for the rest of us. Fact 9. The nearby village of Bampton, Oxfordshire was transformed into Downton's village scenes, and overnight it became a tourist hotspot. Its church, green and narrow lanes appeared in countless episodes, drawing hundreds of fans daily during filming. Locals had mixed feelings. Some loved the extra income, while others complained about blocked roads and noise. Shops started selling Downton-themed mugs and souvenirs, while the pub added Crawley-inspired menu specials. Church services were even rescheduled to avoid clashing with production. One villager's dog famously wandered into shot during a wedding scene, nearly ruining it. Even after the show ended, fans from around the world still flocked to Bampton, eager to take selfies where Lady Mary once walked. For a quiet Oxfordshire parish, life has never been the same. Bampton may not be as grand as Highclere Castle, but to fans, it's just as iconic a living piece of TV history that locals now call Downton Village. Fact 10. Behind the aristocratic formality, Downton's cast had plenty of mischief. Actors bonded so closely that they often passed gossip to Julian Fellowes, who sometimes wove it into scripts. Real-life romances and feuds were whispered about, though rarely confirmed. A few actors accidentally spoiled plot twists at dinner parties, causing panic among producers. The rowdy rap parties became legendary, with the prim Edwardian cast letting loose in ways their characters never would. WhatsApp groups were formed to trade memes, and extras joked that off-camera gossip was spicier than anything on screen. Maggie Smith, true to form, kept her distance, but younger cast members grew into lifelong friends. When tabloids sniffed around for scandal, the cast closed ranks, protecting each other fiercely. The loyalty they built off-screen made the betrayals and heartbreaks on-screen feel even more authentic. Downton's downstairs drama wasn't just acting, it was fueled by a cast who felt like their own big, messy family.